Hi, Louis Gohmert here in a motel in Philadelphia. This is where there's been a lot of action. But I was just live on Newsmax a moment ago, and I need to say, the question that everybody should be asking is about the accuracy of all of the predictions of this election. It's only in hugely Democratic strongholds that have been governed in places where corruption has been known for a long time. Chicago, you've got Philadelphia, you've got places where Democrats have been in control. That's where the problems arose. And as we've seen here in Philadelphia, that's also where Democrat leadership in this town made very, very clear, we have got to hide what we're doing. We can't let anybody see what we're doing here. And we're not even going to follow the law because judges have said that's no reason. We're not going to do what any court says. We are going to steal this election. That's the only reason you would keep the counting hidden. Otherwise, if you were confident what you were doing was legal and was fair and just, you'd be videotaping the whole thing. You would show the world, this is how fairly we counted the votes. That didn't happen here. Did not happen at all. They defied the courts. They defied legality. They defied the Constitution, which says the legislature only can change things about the voting in a federal election. They defied all of these things to continue to work in secret. Oh, sure, they allowed people in, but all of the people I talked to that were supposed to have been poll watchers, they said, yeah, we got in the room, but we were so far from being able to see anything. We couldn't verify anything was fairly, legally done. So why is that? Well, there's only one reason you would act like that. You're hiding something. And also, I know my friend Paul Gosar in Arizona is raising issues of the machines there, the Dominion vote counting machines. Well, I talked to one of our leaders in Texas, and he's double checking, but his understanding was that Dominion voting machines in Texas never could meet the strenuous requirements that Texas had in order to be used as voting machines. And as I understand it, they've been used not only in Arizona, a problematic area for counting, but also in Georgia that all of a sudden did flip blue, even though the Trump coattails got Republicans elected to so many other offices. So it's really a troubled time. If it turns out the American people, by a majority, did vote to move into a socialist form of government, to move to Marxism as the progressives in the Democratic Party promised, well, that's what we've done. So it could have happened. It means they were voting to give up freedom of speech, that we're going to allow high-tech companies to control our lack of free speech from now on, as happened especially in this election year. It means, as I've said before, the only thing George Orwell got wrong was the year. It wasn't 1984. It's right now in 2020. So there are a lot of questions to be answered, and I would humbly submit that anybody that works in the executive branch who is advising the president not to fight for our Western-style civilization, make note of those people, because once the legal challenge is over, and I believe once it's been fully adjudicated and evidence heard, despite all the evidence that's being covered up by the Democrats, including right here in Philadelphia, that President Trump will prevail. He will be declared the legal, legitimate, fair winner of the presidential election. And if not, we all need to buckle up. The freedom of assembly will be gone, as we've seen this year. The freedom of speech, it's already gone to high-tech, controlled by Democrats. But anyway, these guys are going to be the ones that are controlling our speech for the future. So it's a very, very dark and dim future. We're going to get rid of fossil fuel, which means we move toward third world status. And we go back to the days, and I know most people weren't around during the days of Jimmy Carter, but we will move away and allow China. Of course, Biden is going to help all he can to allow China to overtake us, and we know how brutal they've been to freedom of speech, to a woman's right to control her body. There is no control once we move toward China being in charge. It's going to be grim days, and I only smile because I understand how grim it's going to be. I don't want to move that far left, and I don't think the American people did either. So before we have all these declarations of victory by Democrats when they lost in the House and they lost in the Senate, let's get to the bottom of how this election appears to have been delegitimized, and votes of the millions and millions of legitimate votes from Republicans were delegitimized by the Democrats. That's what we've got to do for the sake of the greatest country that God ever allowed to exist. So be praying and working at the same time. Let's get to the bottom of it. Thanks.